guys and girls, welcome to another suggestions video. This one's going to be called the Rathe Merchants, and it's a potential cash in item sink. So to unlock this minigame, talk to Brooks and Burson at the Grand Exchange. He'll tell you that he's heard a lot about your merchanting skill and experience from many sources, but is still not entirely convinced that you've got what it takes. So he'll tell you that in order to convince him, you have to race his top protege to a client in the Lumbridge area, which will be Fred the farmer. He's at a complete loss because all of his shears have been vandalised by an unknown source, and he can no longer shear his sheep, which is obviously a complete disaster. So Brugson tells you that if you get there, take the goods, which is 100 pairs of shears that you will need to buy from the GE, and get back to Brugson before his protege without using teleports or potions. Then you'll have succeeded in convincing him that you're up to the task, and we'll then give you a merchant's scroll and a merchant's ring, and you'll now be able to complete merchant runs. I'll go into what the items are in a moment. A quick note is once it's unlocked, you can only play this minigame on a designated world or worlds, and it's available to pay to play and free to play. However, it could be more profitable in pay to play and more varied as well. The reason for it being on certain worlds is it's possibly able to be exploited if it was allowed on every world. So yeah, right, how it works. So occasionally one of the merchants stationed around the Grand Exchange will spam saying that they need assistance, and a message will also pop up in your task box. Go and talk to them with your merchant's ring and scroll equipped, and then read your scroll. This will then give you the name of whichever NPC needs your assistance and with what items, which you'll have to purchase from the GE. Get there as quick as you can, as you're now competing against other merchants, aka players, and if you're too late to deliver the goods and get back to the original NPC around the GE, then they will tell you that you're not quick enough, and unfortunately you'll have lost out on the chance of any rewards. The NPC that the guy at the GE sends you to, the one that's in need of assistance, they may say they require another item or items, possibly from another NPC who may also require more items, much like the Fremenic Trials quest and One Small Favour. Although I'm not sure whether the merchant's run should be quite as long as One Small Favour, because that was a very long quest. Having said that, though, there could be marathon type merchant runs that require a long period of time and test players' endurance, so I'm not ruling it out entirely. Anyway, bartering may be involved in this merchant run, and offering too low a price may result in a refusal, costing you time. However, always choosing the highest price will obviously save you time. However, it should end up costing you a lot, and it shouldn't be profitable to do it this way. This could also play into whether you win or not. So for example, once the first person is back to the original NPC at the GE, other players could have a certain amount of time, say 60 seconds, to do the same, and the person who spent the least amount of money and hence bartered more proficiently would win, or at least be pushed up in the leaderboards and therefore be able to get more of a reward. Speaking of the rewards, so the first X amount of players should get the reward, so it could either be a percentage of the people involved in the merchant run, or maybe just the top 5, for example. A quick note about that is if 2 or more people come joint position or whatever, then the rewards will be split evenly between them. So yeah, in order to collect the items and return to the original NPC, that's what gets you the reward, and not only like a monetary reward, but also will give you points towards a merchant rank, which can be found by talking to Brugson afterwards. Once you've gained particular ranks, you can upgrade your merchant scroll to provide better prices in certain shops, for example. A quick note about the scroll and the ring. So the scroll is equipable in the shield slot. It's used to find your next client, basically. It also gives a slight reduction in prices at certain stores, as I said, once you've got a particular merchant rank or have enough merchant points. And the ring, so that turns you ethereal and ghost-like, which might seem a bit random, but that'll be explained in a minute. And it also gives you an invisible boost to 99 agility, but only throughout the minigame. And if you weren't to go to the next client quick enough, then that bonus will be disabled, because obviously you could have just ran off and tried to use the 99 agility for other means. So yeah, it might not work on things like shortcuts as well, just in case you use it for a shortcut. It also disables all forms of teleportation, and it also allows certain spells to be cast on players even in non-PvP worlds. So spells like snares, binds, freezes, energy reduction spells and things like that. Very similar to the suggestion I made at my first video, actually, the Brimhaven Agility Arena suggestion. So if you haven't seen that, then check that out, and that gives a bit more detail about that. Right, in terms of the rewards, so the NPC at the GE who initialised the merchant run will offer you a mystery package to the top percentage of players, or top 5 players, who get back to him first and who have bartered most proficiently. This reward will be weighted in favour of those who are the quickest and who bartered efficiently. So those are the 2 criteria for a good reward, basically. So the mystery package, so as an example, the NPC will ask you what you're willing to offer, and there'll be a value range that you can type in manually. So e.g., for example, 50k to 100k. And the amount is determined somewhat by how much you have to spend on the items throughout the merchant run to make sure it is profitable for you. If you set too low of a value, then the merchant will be insulted, and will then only offer it at the highest value, which still may be profitable, but makes it a lot more unlikely. And the higher your merchant level, the more accurate your evaluation of the value of the boxes. So instead of it being 50k to 100k, which is a fair range, maybe it's 60k to 80k or something like that. So it makes it more likely that you're going to be able to pinpoint the actual price of the package, therefore not insulting the merchant, the NPC. So as well as the guys around the NPCs that you help during the merchant runs could also offer discounted goods based on their field and your merchant level, of course. These goods could also be mystery packages and work in the same way as the one I just explained. Other rewards could be terms of experience based on your position and bartering, so a bit like temple trekking, maybe something comparable to that. Obviously your merchant's points, you'll always get merchant's points if you've bartered, and you'll get more points if you barter well, basically. And another reward could be improved shop prices at particular stores. Right, so on to some notes. So a quick note about the actual name of the suggestion. So whilst thinking about it, I actually learnt a new word, because I was looking for another word for quick, because things like the speedy, the fast merchant, those pretty terrible minigame names. So after a bit of searching, I came across the word Rathe, which is an archaic term meaning prompt and eager, and as it happens is also a homophone for wraith, as in a ghost. So that fits quite well into like a fantasy game like RuneScape. So I thought there'd be some sort of pun made of this, and that's the reason I've suggested that the Merchant's Ring turns you ethereal. Some more notes. So throughout the minigame, there could be puzzles and challenges included. It could end up being somewhat similar to a race to do a clue scroll, if you think of it that way. However, it's obviously got more reasonable rewards than the clue scroll. There shouldn't be too much, basically, because obviously it's harder to get a clue scroll than it would be to do this mini game, because this mini game will be happening a lot more often than you'll get clue scrolls. It'd also be interesting to add various limitations and rules to some of the merchant's tasks. For example, one NPC might say you can't use the G or bank. One might say they've had a negative experience with clients in a particular area, so don't enter that region. And maybe you could still go into that region, but you could be attacked by rival merchants. So things like that, basically. During the minigame, participants could use energy and agility draining spells, as I spoke about. So that's to make the race a lot more interesting and require a lot more skill. Obviously, there should be a limit on how many spells you can cast on a certain player within a certain time frame, so everyone can't bombard one player. That'd be a little bit unfair. And in my opinion, it'd be good if this minigame gave the advantage solely to players who have better game knowledge and who are more skilled at the game, which to me is people who are quick at thinking, quick at problem solving, and accurate and fast at clicking. Now, I've included a merchant run example in the document. I won't go through that verbally because that might take too long. But that pretty much covers everything. So I'll just finish on the sort of pros of the suggestion. So it gets people involved in an interactive, fun and competitive way. It promotes and rewards game knowledge of various characters in lesser known areas. Offers a diverse, dynamic and ever-changing gameplay, and can be used as an item sync for any item. And it can also be very lucrative if you're amongst the quickest of the merchants, that is. So please let me know what you think about this suggestion, and thanks a lot for listening and watching, and I shall see you in the next video.